Stormy weather caused NASA and SpaceX to scrub this afternoon's launch at the Kennedy Space Center. Mark Strassman is there.
This was supposed to be a historic moment in space travel. The first time in 9 years that a spacecraft would leave from U.S. soil carrying U.S. The first time in nearly 40 years that astronauts would fly in a brand new spacecraft, and the first time ever that a private company would launch humans into space.
The next opportunity for the launch is Saturday. There are growing calls to prosecute the white Minneapolis police officers who were fired after the death of George Floyd. For a second day, demonstrators called for justice. Ken Rance was on the city's police review panel.
The murder of George Floyd was the most egregious, excessive use of force that I've ever witnessed.
Former Vice President Joe Biden weighed in today.
George mattered. It mattered as much as mine. It mattered as much as anyone's in this country. And at least it should have.
While President Trump rails against the prospect in voting this November, states affected by the coronavirus are moving ahead with plans for mail-in voting. CBS's Bill Rakoff.
The pandemic has prompted a total of states to postpone their presidential primaries and expand their mail ballot access. Some states, like Rhode Island, Georgia, and Maryland, are sending out ballot application forms to registered voters. 5 states, meanwhile, Colorado, Hawaii, Oregon, Utah, and Washington, already have all-mail elections. They consist of a mix of sending ballots to registered voters and opening up limited polling centers for those that wish to vote in person. Bill Rakoff, CBS News.
Boeing is sending pink slips to more than 6,700 U.S. employees. CBS's Chris Van Cleve.
Several thousand remaining layoffs will come in the next few months. Boeing's CEO, in a letter to employees today, said, "I wish there were some other way."
Boeing also announced it has resumed production of the 737 MAX aircraft, whose design flaws are blamed for 2 crashes involving 346 deaths. The Dow up 553 today. This is CBS News.
These are challenging times, and Rocket Mortgage is prepared to help. If you need mortgage assistance, contact their team 24/7 at rocketmortgage.com. Rocket Mortgage is with you.
It's 3:03 at the Bay Area's news station KCBS. Still sweltering inland, little bit of a break near the coast and bay today. Good afternoon. I'm Patty Rising along with Jeff Bell. Here's what's happening.
Patty, desperate owners of gyms and workout facilities pleaded with Governor Newsom today to let them reopen their businesses. KC reporter Doug Sovern says the governor promised to release new guidelines within the next week or so to allow them to resume in-person operations.
The governor continued his economic recovery listening tour with a Zoom meeting with several owners of gym and fitness facilities around the state. Adam Attia, owner of a popular gym in Sacramento called Fitness Rangers, said the pandemic has been devastating to his business and he can't survive more than another week.
We're desperate. We want to get back into the gym. We're doing everything we can to keep our members engaged. We've had a tremendous community. Everyone has been really supportive, but we're at a point where I have to lay everyone off. I may have to close my doors permanently if we can't reopen soon.
Governor Newsom said he gets the message and he's crafting new guidelines for gyms, yoga studio centers, and similar operations that he will release within the next week or so. Not promising next week, but soon after at the latest.
We look forward to getting these out, Kev, and I hear that loudly and clearly.
There will be strict rules about sanitizing, spacing, and limited capacity. Bay Area counties are not likely to let gyms reopen as of the state. Doug Sovern, KCBS.
Well, the heat is on in the Bay Area. You already know that. KCBS's Margie Schaefer joins us in San Jose to report where cooling centers are operating a little bit differently during the COVID-19 pandemic. Margie?
Well, that's right, Patty. The opening of these 5 cooling centers is triggered when the high gets to 97 degrees. So they are open today, and they will be open tomorrow to the relief of Ernie.
I stay in an RV, and my RV is very hot. There's no cooling in the RV, so I come out here to cool down.
So during there's a lot of people head to the mall or head to the theater or a coffee shop or maybe a fast food joint to
Having some problems with Margie's line. We are going to reestablish that contact, hopefully a little bit stronger, and get back to her a little later on. Well, California's Attorney General and those states are suing the Trump administration over its gutting of clean air standards. KCBS's Jim Taylor reports.
Earlier this year, the Trump administration rolled back the country's clean car standards, calling it the SAFE rule.
The Trump administration ignored warnings from its own EPA staff that the new rule was.
California Attorney General Javier Becerra, joined by the Attorneys General of Colorado and Michigan, announcing this lawsuit.
That's why today our coalition of 23 states plus the District of Columbia and 4 major cities are taking this administration to court with 3 of our best allies by our side: the facts, science, and the law.
He says even the administration's report on the rule rollback elicited concerns about a rise in greenhouse gases.
The biggest contributor of greenhouse gas emissions in America. And pollution-related respiratory illnesses like asthma make people more susceptible to COVID-19.
He says science and the law are on the coalition's side. Jim Taylor, KCBS.
A federal appeals court has upheld the lawsuit that accused Twitter, Facebook, and other tech giants of conspiring to stifle the political views of a far-right activist and a conservative nonprofit. A panel from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia ruled today that Laura Loomer and Freedom Watch don't have any viable claims that the companies violated their First Amendment free speech rights. Twitter banned Loomer after she tweeted that Minnesota Democrat Ilhan Omar is anti-Jewish and supports Sharia law, one of the first 2 Muslim women to serve in Congress. Just ahead on KCBS.
I'm Keith Manconi. Facing a manpower shortage in its contact tracing effort, Santa Clara County is turning to volunteers for help.
KCBS News Time 3:08. Yeah, it's hot out there again today. Patty's got the forecast coming up, but for traffic news, we're going to start off in San Francisco.
I'm looking at traffic on northbound 101 through and out of San Francisco. If you happen to be headed to the lower deck of the Bay Bridge, northbound starts to slow just before the Central Freeway split. You'll stay under the limit eastbound on the 80 Sky. And then traffic is slow and stretches before and after Treasure Island on the lower deck. There are no delays. It's light and at the limit on the upper deck and San Francisco. We had roadwork delays southbound Park Presidio between Lake and Geary, and I can see that is almost non-existent. I suspect they've picked up the cones for the day. And if the East Shore Freeway is your destination, I do see some slow and go conditions eastbound Interstate 80 between Emerald, and then after that, nice conditions eastbound and westbound between Richmond and Vallejo. Earlier delay on the Golden Gate Bridge. It's 83rd birthday today, 87, 83. We want to air at the younger end of the spectrum. There are no delays between Marin County and Francisco. Your next update, 3:18 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
99 in Concord and Livermore this hour. It is still sweltering inland. Some locations near the coast and bay have cooled off just a bit. We are seeing mid-70s, mid-80s Bayside, upper 60s at the coast. An increase in the marine start cooling things off tomorrow. By that we mean 60s at the coast, 70s, low 80s by the bay, and low 90s inland. By the way, that heat advisory remains in effect till 7 tomorrow evening. Traffic and weather together on KCBS.
If you plan to go outdoors for a nature break in your East Bay Regional Parks, cloth mask to protect yourself and others from exposure to the COVID-19 virus. We're all in this together. For more information, go to ebparks.org.
Our semi-mandatory confinement is now semi-over. Time to venture out into this brave new world. But let's make this like the Gov says, a smart and careful return. That's what the people at European Sleepworks are doing. Oh, they can't wait to get back to making and selling their own mattresses, assembled right here in their own factory from the finest European components. Currently, their expert associates are offering phone consultations to help comfort needs. They also do curbside pickup and everything possible to keep customers and crew safe. Just talking to these people will be comfortable and confident that it's all going to be okay, and a good night's sleep will soon be yours. Every night. Europe's at the corner of Adeline and Ashby in Berkeley, or online at sleepworks.com. That's sleepworks.com.
Did you know that treatment for ED has advanced beyond the little blue pill? The newest treatment for men seeking optimal performance is finally available in the Bay Area from the doctors at ARC Men's Health. Acoustic wave energy by Gain's revolutionary medical procedure that treats the real cause of ED. Now you can get off Viagra and be spontaneous again naturally. Treatments are non-invasive, pain surgery-free. A quick procedure breaks down plaque and blockages, restoring blood flow and reversing ED. If you've got ED or Peyronie's disease, regardless of your age or medical history, call ARC Men's Health to schedule your consultation. ARC is PPE compliant and taking all precautions to keep patients safe. Aids are accepted. For information, call ARC Men's Health at 650-407-1168. That's 650-407-68. Online at arcmenshealth.com. Call now, 650-407-1168.
Medication-assisted treatment, or MAT, is a proven treatment for fentanyl, heroin, opioid painkiller, and prescription pill addiction. During the coronavirus pandemic, MAT treatment is still available. Find a treatment option that's right for you at choosemat.org and choose Change, California.
KCBS News Time 312. This portion of the News Watch sponsored by East Bay Regional Parks District.
County is putting out the call for volunteers to help in the effort to get the region reopened safely. More from KCBS reporter Keith Manconi.
Contact tracing, labor-intensive work of tracking the close contacts of those who are COVID positive to help stem the spread of the virus. While it's at the top of the to-do list for state and local officials, the people to do it is proving to be a challenge, including in Santa Clara County. So County Executive Officer Jeff Smith is asking average citizens to step up here.
We're looking for a commitment of about 3 months. We certainly would like to have a longer commitment, but we'll take what we can get.
One challenge to the hiring work so far, Smith says some mistakenly believe the tracing work is performed in person and could put the tracers at risk. In fact, he says,
contact tracing really can be done from your home, on the internet, on the phone.
The county is looking to bring on 800 more contact tracers by mid-July. You can find out more about the program on the county's website. In San Jose, Keith Manconi, KCBS.
KCBS News Time 313. Kevin the Rat on the sports line in 2 minutes.
Securities and advisory services offered through United Planners Financial Services. Member FINRA SIPC. Vitucci & Associates and United Planners are not affiliated.
How's this Wall Street affecting your retirement nest egg? If you're retired or nearing retirement, your concern is making sure your savings can last a lifetime. Are you ready to trade for stability? Then you should find out about the strategies that can help provide you a lifetime of steady income. This is information you need now, and you can get it on one virtual meeting or a phone call with Pat Vitucci or one of his team from don'tinvestandforget.com. You don't have to wait for an office appointment. You call with Pat from the comfort of your home and learn about the income strategies designed to help you enjoy a more financially secure retirement. It's free, and there's no obligation. Just call 888-PLAN-WISE or go to don'tinvestandforget.com. That's 888-PLAN-WISE or go to don'tinvestandforget.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, over-designed, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope it's a special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3. Just go to harrys.com and enter 8855 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 8855.
Coming up on KCBS, a new declaration from the State Department regarding Hong Kong and China could have major implications. We'll take a closer look in about KCBS News Time 3:15.
Okay, and time again for sports. We check back with Kevin the Rats. Kev.
Several pro athletes on the death of George Floyd, the 46-year-old black man who died last night after being subdued for 8 minutes by a police officer in Minneapolis who was seen in a video kneeling on Floyd's neck as Floyd struggled to breathe. He died at a hospital. LeBron James posted to the police officer kneeling on Floyd next to an image of Colin Kaepernick kneeling before an NFL game. Posted above the image was the word this, and then above Kaepernick's picture, the words is why. Alongside the image, do you understand now, or is it still blurred to you? Dwayne Wade posted on Twitter today, quote, justice will not be served until those unaffected are as outraged as those who are. Steven Jackson, former Warriors player, friend of the victim, he grew up in the same neighborhood in Houston as George Floyd, and posted an emotional tribute to the man he called twin. 4 policemen involved in the arrest have been fired. Floyd's death is under investigation by the FBI and state law enforcement authorities. It immediately drew comparisons to the case of Eric Garner, an unarmed black man who died in 2014 in New York. He was placed in a chokehold by police and pleaded for his life, saying he could not breathe. This is America 2020. Sports Desk, Kevin Radich, KCBS.
Mortgage rates are at historic lows, and this is our lowest 30-year fixed rate ever. And now your direct lender, Network Capital Funding, rates at historic lows. See for yourself. Our 30-year fixed rate is 2.875 with a 2.89% APR. Incredible! Plus, there's no lender origination fees or discount points. This is the best it's ever been. And now you have Network Capital Funding on your side, saving you money and time with their uniquely fast, simple, and secure process. These are our best rates ever. So call and see for yourself. Our 30-year fixed rate is 2.875 with a 2.89% APR. Incredible. Call the experts at Network Capital Funding. 800-500-1-HIT. That's 800-500-1-HIT. As in home run. It's a grand slam to your best savings ever on your new mortgage or refi. That's 800-500-1-HIT or 800-500-1448. NMLS ID 11712. Visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Licensed by the California Department of Business Oversight under the Finance Lender Law. Number 603D787. An equal opportunity lender. Change and credit approval. Call 800-500-1-HIT for more information.
Radio.com Rewind gives you KCBS News the way you want it, when you want it. Hear what you may have missed, or hear an interview again by listening to KCBS via Radio.com Rewind.
Traffic time, it's 3:18. We are back with Kim Vestal on the Wednesday Traffic Watch, and this time around we're going to start things off.
We will, and Oakland freeways are in pretty good shape at the moment. This update brought to you by DuckDuckGo Privacy. The Chilton Auto Body Collision spotted one new problem, a minor accident hit and run. Eastbound 580 right before Seminary. Watch out for the car that was hit. The victim's at the right-hand shoulder. There's some minor slowing approaching that incident there. I can also see traffic starting to fill in slightly southbound on the Nimitz. That would be 880 through downtown Oakland. Just increasing volume of traffic there. No accident. And no longer any roadwork delays on Highway 24 and up ahead between Orinda and Lafayette. We had delays earlier today, but traffic is moving well. And you're right on the Sunol grade, also starting to fill in northbound at Fremont. It's slow in stretches between the two Mission Boulevards. And once you get up and over the grade, traffic at the limit as you continue your northbound ride on 680 into Pleasanton. And traffic on the Altamont Pass now, 580 eastbound beginning to slow down, starting just before Greenville Road to Grant Line Road, again in the eastbound direction. Want the same internet but more privacy? DuckDuckGo's got you covered. They help millions of people like you get privacy online with one download. You can search and browse privately, avoiding trackers, all for free. DuckDuckGo, privacy simplified. Next update, 3:28 on the Traffic Leader, KCBS.
We need to talk about the Mancini's Sleep World 6-day forecast. In this challenging time, Mancini's is still delivering comfort to the Bay Area. Visit Sleep World. Well, we still have a heat advisory in effect. It is still sweltering inland, mid-90s to around 100, mid-70s to mid-80s by the Bay and at the coast. We're going to see an increase in the marine layer, and that's going to start cooling things off tomorrow. 60s at the coast, 70s, low 80s by the Bay, low 90s inland. By Friday, inland highs are going to drop into the 80s, increasing clouds Saturday. We actually have a chance of rain and maybe a few isolated thunder showers. Partly Sunday, and then Another chance of showers on Monday. Traffic and weather together on the 8s on All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS. KSM 321.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has announced that the State Department will no longer consider that Hong Kong has autonomy under Chinese rule, and this could have implications for U.S. relations with both Hong Kong and China and impact trade. For more on the consequences, we turn to the KCBS Ring Central and talk with Orville Schell, director of the Center on U.S.-China Relations at the Asia Society. He is, by the way, a former professor and dean at UC Berkeley School of Journalism and has written several books on China. Thanks, as always, for making some time for us. Our producer tells us that you had a phone call with the Chinese consulate. What can you...
Well, it was an effort to kind of keep a dialogue open, which I think one would have to say is finding less and less grounds for any kind of a win-win scenario. I mean, I think what's going on in Hong Kong is going to be just another wedge that drives China farther and farther apart, a wedge that was already, fairly advanced in terms of cleaving the U.S. and China from having any ability to see common interest because of the pandemic.
What are the implications concerning trade?
I mean, I think they're very grave because the U.S. and China are the two largest economies in the world, and it is sort of the keystone of the whole world market arch. So if that begins to be put in jeopardy, and much less pulled out of then the whole global fabric of trade is going to be impacted. And I think it's, of course, it comes at a time when the economic consequences of the pandemic could be catastrophic. So you have a kind of a double jeopardy here.
Talk, if you would, about the protests themselves. To what degree are they shaping the dialogue?
I think tragically, what China has done by unilaterally foisting a national security law on Hong Kong. But in China's defense, I should say that Hong Kong was obliged to come up with its own national security law and was unable to do that because of protests. But by the National People's Congress in Beijing rather than the Legislative Council in Hong Kong, it really leaves Hong Kong citizens with no way to express desire to see Deng Xiaoping's formula of one country, two systems continue, except to go into the streets and protest. And I think these more and more violent, more and more chaotic, and indeed, just as China fears, more and more in the what we could categorize as terrorism.
So you don't see a let up in the protest, even amid the coronavirus pandemic? They're not afraid to go out and gather?
I think what China has done is created such a kind of feeling of desperation in Hong Kong. As we see in the streets in the last few days, people are willing to go out and take a chance, even as the chances of arrest and imprisonment have risen drastically with this new national security law. Because what it in effect does is allows Beijing and the mainland on the subversion and succession to send in the various security agencies from Beijing and the People's Armed Police, garrison of People's Liberation Army soldiers already in Hong Kong.
So based on all of this, what is your best guess as to how this is going to play out?
I think we're going to have increasingly chaotic demonstrations, and remember the anniversary of June 4th is coming, and I think it would be an enormous tragedy, but maybe inevitable, that China will feel that it is obliged, just as it is in the case of the national security law, to come in with constabulary, if not military troops, to put the unrest down. And I think that if we're not extremely careful, and I don't know how you can be careful now, we could end up with a kind of a urban guerrilla warfare situation in Hong Kong, which once was unimaginable.
Thank you so much for your time. We always appreciate it. Orville Schell, director of the Center on U.S.-China Relations at the Asia Society. On the Money Watch with Jason Brooks.
The Dow Jones surged higher for the second straight session on economic optimism, closing above 25,000 for the first time since March 10th. The blue chip index gained 553 points to 25,548. The Nasdaq rose 72 points to 9412. The S&P 4 points to 3036. Boeing started laying off 6,000 workers at its Seattle area factories. as the company struggles with plunging orders as travel has dried up during the pandemic. Despite that, shares in Boeing rose over 3%. There was pressure on social media stocks after President Trump lashed out at Twitter for using a new fact-checking feature for politicians on a tweet from the president regarding the potential for fraud involving mail-in ballots. Shares in Twitter fell nearly 3%. Facebook was down over 1%. On the Money Watch, Jason Brooks, KCBS.
Monument Crisis Center is a community-based East Bay serving low-income and at-risk families, seniors, and children in need. Due to COVID-19, the need for food and essentials has gone up over 300% and increasing by the minute. In the past 9 weeks, Monument Crisis Center has distributed enough food to make over 450,000 meals. Your help is needed. Please donate now at monumentcrisiscenter.org or text MCC to 41444. Multiplying Good has launched the One in a Million Award to recognize people who are making a difference through service during this hard time. Celebrate the restaurant owner delivering free meals to the homeless, the neighbor ordering food for the student making signs to encourage our first responders. Anyone who is leaning in to help can receive this award. Nominate someone today at multiplyinggood.org. Help recognize the millions who are powering service to others.
Are you efficient at wasting money? Well, that's exactly what you're installing a new furnace or air conditioner if your attic's not properly insulated. You need to check out Eagle Shield High Performance Insulation. You see, heat rises. 80% escapes through the ceiling. Whether it's 20 or 110 degrees outside, Eagle Shield will keep you comfortable inside by reflecting 90% of the heat back in during the winter. And important, creates a barrier the heat cannot penetrate in the summer. Eagle Shield keeps you comfortable and saves you money. Right now, the first 50 callers get a space-age water heater blanket worth $175. Plus, when you mention KCBS, get 25% off. Folks, it's affordable and it works. Call them now, 800-88-EAGLE. That's 883-2453. 800-883-2453. 800-883-2453.
Eagles. The Eagle has landed. Call 1-800-88-EAGLE.
KCBS News Time 328 traffic. We check back with Kim Vestal, and we're going to start things off this time around in San Francisco.
It's a slow ride to the lower deck of the Bay Bridge. Afternoon, northbound 101 is backed up just before Cesar Chavez, and it really heavies up before and after the Central Freeway. You stay all the way across the lower deck to the other side of Treasure Island before you start to pick up speed. No delays on the upper deck. And we've got fire crews on the scene in San Francisco. A structure fire on the 500 block of Howard at First Street, and that building is being evacuated. So avoid the area, and we'll keep a watch on that one for you. And we've got some slow traffic if you're headed to the East Shore Freeway. It's slow in stretches eastbound Interstate 80 between the MacArthur Maze and Golden Gate Fields. Your next update at 3:38 on the Traffic Leader, KCBS.
It's approaching 100 degrees in a couple of spots in the Bay. Yes, still sweltering there, backing off temperatures a little bit by the coast and Bay. Increasing the marine layer is going to start cooling things off even more tomorrow. Traffic and weather together on KCBS.
This is Larry Flick, owner of The Floor Store. We can't wait to get back to helping you with your redecorating plans. So our reopening sale starts now. Up to 50% off, 24 months interest-free financing, and no sales tax. All in a clean and safe environment. The Floor Store, your Bay Area flooring authority.
T-Mobile are joining forces to power your business. We're building a 5G network that will deliver unprecedented reach and reliability and the highest capacity. With more coverage and more bandwidth to keep your employees connected, you'll get the largest and most reliable network at an unbeatable price. T-Mobile for Business. Visit T-MobileForBusiness.com to learn more.
What's driving the conversation in California today? Every weekday at this time, we explore a topic that's making news in our state. This is of California.
And good afternoon, I'm Doug Sahm, KCBS political reporter and host of the State of California, along with Patty Rising and Jeff Bell.
Governor Gavin Newsom and the state of California are being sued on multiple fronts over their response to the coronavirus pandemic.
The governor is under legal attack in suits for not allowing religious services, keeping beauty salons closed, and planning to mail ballots to all California voters in November, not to mention suits brought by beachgoers and owners of gun shops.
And Patty and Jeff, one thing all of these lawsuits have in common is the San Francisco lawyer who's representing those various clients. She is Harmeet Dillon, former vice chair of the California GOP. She's the Republican National Committee woman for California. She owns the Dillon Law Group in San Francisco. She's also the founder of the Center for American Liberty, which has also been involved in some of these suits. And Harmeet Dillon is our guest today on the state of California to talk about some of these. Governor, thanks as always. And let's start with this suit over voting by mail. We've talked with the governor about it. We've talked with the Secretary of State about it. More than 70% of Californians do already vote by mail. Officials and independent studies say there's very little voter fraud associated with it. So why shouldn't California make it easier for people to vote safely this November without risking getting the...
Well, I think California can do that and do that within a reasonable framework that prevents fraud. Other states have addressed the coronavirus. For example, Michigan, by choosing to mail a application or a request for a vote-by-mail ballot to all voters. And I think that's a reasonable way to approach it. That way you get a return from somebody who actually lives at that address. You get a signature. You get some verification that the person is expecting a ballot. What Governor Newsom wants to do is beyond what any other governor has done in the country, which is basically in his original proposal, span every registered voter with a ballot, whether they want it or not. Many voters like myself who are in good health actually prefer to vote in person. My husband prefers a mail-in ballot to have the right to have that handled differently. And to your point about the percentage of people who vote by mail, I don't think that's strictly accurate. In the recent, it is correct that approximately 70% of the people who chose to vote in that primary did it that way. But this is a general election in November that we're talking about that typically has higher turnout of people voting. And in some cases, people will prefer to vote in person. And sitting here today in May, it is not at all clear that the governor has emerged into events that are taking place 6 months from now with no evidence, frankly, that it's going to be a health crisis. So I'm all for people voting safely, every single person voting who is eligible to vote, and 0 people voting who are not eligible to vote.
Ms. Dillon, in some states, the Republican Party is actually pushing absentee. In the recent special election in L.A., the GOP fought against allowing another in-person polling place. Are there inconsistencies in this approach from a Republican?
Not at all. I think you're kind of reading from some canned talking points there. The lawsuit does not attack absentee voting, okay? Absentee voting is an example of a Republican in my household who likes to vote that way. The problem is unsolicited absentee ballots. The other problem is specific to California, incredibly sloppy record keeping of our polls. Just last year, the Secretary of State settled a lawsuit against Judicial Watch in Los Angeles County, which had accused Los Angeles of having 1.5 million people on the voter rolls in that county eligible to vote. 1.5 million in one county out of the 58 counties in California. That is the problem. The problem is not every single person in California who wants to vote absentee. They can do that. I welcome that. I embrace that, and the party has no problem with that. The problem is the sloppiness and the lack of accountability. I think those are the two big problems. And to the polling places, that's another problem with the governor's scheme. We have no problem with the governor announcing in advance, in conjunction with registrars of voters, exactly where the polling places are going to be well in advance. What the governor did in the recent special election is unilaterally, a few days before the election, announced that he was going to put extra voting places in Democratic areas. That's facially ridiculous, and I would not support it in Texas or in a Republican state either. That's not how we do elections in America. We do it in advance. We have neutral rules. We don't have extra voting places for Democrat districts. So I'm opposed to that. The governor has felt the right to do that in this November election as well. That's a problem with this scheme. Let's have even enforcement. Let's have fair rules, and let's not make it up as we go.
I wanted to move on to the lawsuit regarding churches and houses of worship. The governor is letting them open with restrictions. Is that good enough? Not. Why?
Sure. So there are 3 different lawsuits, one of which is currently sitting on the desk of Supreme Court Justice Kagan of the government's unconstitutional and arbitrary restrictions on faith that do not apply to commercial establishments. So I think the governor actually made it with his recent order. Although people are allowed to worship, they're subject to arbitrary restrictions of 100 people or 25% that do not apply to type of establishment in California. So there's no such limitation on Costco. There's no such limitation on the alcohol or marijuana stores. There's no such limitation on stations or entertainment that's allowed to operate, and that's unconstitutional. It also does not take into consideration that if you have a Catholic cathedral, it may seat 2,000 people. Why is there a 100-person limitation? We have mega churches in Southern California that seat thousands of people. The 100-person limitation is illogical and unconstitutional. So out of the 3 cases I'm involved with, 2 with other law firms, we will not be dismissing these cases, and we just filed our appeals brief in the Ninth Circuit last night, and all of these cases are going forward.
Do you think that the governor's making these decisions then based on what? Political, personal whim and not on science and data, as he claims?
They're definitely not on science and data. They haven't produced a shred of it in court. It's only been fear-mongering. Hearing, he pointed, his attorney general pointed to death figures in Iran and New York as the basis for the hysteria here in California, and cling to numbers from other states as a basis for the situation in California. I don't challenge the governor's sincerity in regard to religion. I just don't think it's that important to him compared to how important it is to people of faith. Most people of faith do not just go to church once a year at Easter and then go out for brunch. That's not what it is. Daily or a weekly or a regular practice for them. And telling them that it's simply not important, and as the Attorney General of California said in that first hearing, that it's kind of like going to a sporting event. It's not kind of like those things. And so they really don't get it, how important it is to people. And it's constitutionally protected. It's actually our country was founded on the principle that the government can't tell you how to worship, period, full stop.
All right, thank you. Republican National Committee woman for California, attorney in San Francisco, representing various clients in a series of lawsuits against the governor in the state. A reminder, you can hear the state of California every Monday through Friday at 3:30 in the afternoon. You can find the audio for download at kcbsradio.com. And now this program is available as a podcast on Apple Music, Google Play Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Doug Sovereign, KCBS.
And up next, our KCBS traffic and weather together updates at 3:38. We have fire-related traffic in San Francisco.
We do. I briefly mentioned in our last report a structure fire. An 8-story S500 block of Howard Street at First has been evacuated. Reportedly, an electrical fire. So far, no one hurt, but fire crews want people to. You will be detoured around the area of that fire. And on the peninsula, Chilton Auto Body Collision Cam has just spotted a crash on 101 southbound just north of Ralston Avenue. The cars involved have made it over to the right-hand shoulder, so traffic is getting by just fine. Waze report the fender bender on Highway 17 southbound headed into Scotts Valley before Mount Herman Road. And we'll dig around for more info on that because traffic is slow approaching the scene. Next update at 3:48 on the Traffic Leader, KCBS.
Yes, it's still really hot inland, mid-90s, approaching 100 degrees in a couple of spots. There's still a heat advisory in effect, cooling off just a little bit near the coast and bay. We're going to see a little bit more cooling tomorrow, 60s at the coast, 70s to low 80s by the bay, low 90s inland. Traffic and weather together on the 8s on All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS.
Ground Game is the latest Associated Press, hosted by APS Julie Pace. Ground Game discusses election strategy all through primary season. Download it where you get your podcast.
Looking for essential businesses area while we shelter in place? KCBSradio.com/local has a complete list in your county. Hippo Home Insurance, headquartered right here in the Bay Area, is all Hippo.com policies come with a complimentary smart home alarm system to protect your home and provide peace of mind while sheltering in place. We encourage you to support yours, and we are dedicated to helping the Bay Area stay connected. For more information, go to radio.com/stay connected.
Announcing the 12th annual Bay Dream House Raffle, benefiting Yerba Buena Center for the Arts.
It's your chance to win the house of your dreams or $1 million in cash.
The Dream House is a 1-acre home at Stinson Beach with 4 bedrooms and stunning views of the Pacific.
2,300 prizes will be given away, including cars, vacations, and electric. There are so many ways to win.
When you buy a minimum of 1 raffle ticket, you can buy an add-on ticket for a weekly prize of $10,000 cash. Congratulations, add-on ticket winner Roberto Guimaraes from San Francisco.
Buy 3 or more tickets, and you're automatically entered into the multi-ticket drawing for a Jaguar F-Type or $50,000 cash.
The San Francisco Bay Dream House Raffle. Grand prize is your dream house at Stinson Beach or $1 million.
Now, call 800-870-7886. That's 800-870-7886.
Hi, it's Gil Gross. Let's talk about it now. Have you ever wondered how the banks make all their money? Have you ever wanted to be on that side of the deal? Well, at Pacific Private Money, their clients are doing just that. For over a decade, Private Money have been earning returns of 7% and higher secured by California real estate at conservative values. In these uncertain times, it's important to earn concerns on your savings and retirement accounts. And let's face it, many of us are not on track to achieve the level of retirement income we desire. Strategies like Pacific Private Money's mortgage-backed investments might be just the thing you need to boost the income in your retirement accounts. Remember, earning 7% and higher is not uncommon. Join the thousands of Bay Area residents who've learned one of the best-kept secrets in investing today. For information, call them at 415-883-2150 or visit their website at pacificprivate.com. That's 415-883-2150 or visit pacificprivatemoney.com. You'll be glad.
I feel like I'm being haunted by a pair of headphones. Everywhere I go is a creepy ad for headphones I looked at one time. I hate feeling like I'm being watched. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Privacy with DuckDuckGo.
KCBS News Time, 3:43.
When Vallejo's Six Flags Discovery Kingdom amusement park reopens, and that in a matter of a few weeks, by the way, visitors are going to see a dramatic shift in operations. KCBS's Jeffrey Schaub reports park attendants will be limited, face masks well-weared, as well as a host of other safety precautions.
Sister Park Hurricane Harbor in Concord reopened, visitors will notice several measures. Spokesperson Mark Marino.
Before they arrive to the park, guests will acknowledge they have been healthy for at least 14 days and that they must wear a mask.
Patrons will also have their temperature checked by park staff using thermal scanners. Marino says a special team of them will be tasked with sanitizing most locations in the park. Social distancing will be required, and this perhaps being the biggest shift.
One NBA player has a plan for a playoff format. Kevin will have that in about a minute.
If in a car accident, call the Barnes firm now.
Harrison Street, Oakland. AIDS spokesperson, Attorney John Sheehan, responsible for this ad.
One thing to be stuck in your house due to COVID-19. It's another thing to be stuck with a house. We've got good news for homeowners listening throughout the Bay Area. John Area Houses is still buying houses. More importantly, we offer sellers a completely virtual selling process that maintains social distancing standards. Sell now. Call John today and get a cash offer in just 7 minutes. Call 510-426-7000. Can't collect rent? Not a problem. We buy Miami the Rent houses as well as vacant houses. We buy houses as is and in any condition. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call Bay Area Houses today at 510-426-7000. Sell your home now. Call John today and get a cash offer in just 7 minutes. Call 510-426-7000. That's 510-426-7000. 510-426-7000.
KCBS 45.
And coming up on KCBS, it is a dangerous time of year for teen drivers as more of them hit the road. In about 5 minutes, we'll have some tips for keeping your...
Right now, we have another basketball proposal. Kevin the Rat on the sports line.
Yeah, Patty, the NBA's trying to figure out what type of format to have. Play resumes. The word is the league would like teams to host their own training camps in their own cities, and then the players would arrive in Orlando at Disney World to begin play sometime in late July or early August, either the resumption of the regular season in some way or playoff format. Damian Lillard told Yahoo Sports yesterday that if they were adding a few games to finish the regular season and they're throwing us out there for games and we don't have a true opportunity to get in the playoffs, he said, I'm not going to be participating. He said he'd be because he's part of the team, but he's telling them, I would not want to participate. Today, he spoke with Jalen and Jacoby on their show on ESPN.
I mean, I felt like the way the story was written, it was taken out of context because it was a casual conversation. And it was like expletive this, expletive that. But it wasn't a demonstrative statement. I was just saying, we've been off for 2 months. And if we come back, we want to play.
He was asked how he would design a return to play then.
If I could, I would, design some type of play-in tournament between all the teams that were in striking distance. Because, Sacramento was playing their best basketball of the season. So was New Orleans. And so were we. And none of those teams were in the playoffs, but we were within striking distance, with enough games left in the season to catch Memphis. Like a play-in tournament would be perfect.
Yeah, the Blazers, Pelicans, and Kings were all 3.5 games back of Memphis for that 8th and final West when play was halted on March 12th. He makes a good point. The NHL is doing that with 24 teams in a playoff form each conference. At the sports desk, Kevin Radich, KCBS.
Fremont Bank. We're a bank above. Because unlike the others, locally owned branches, fill them with locally grown experts and offer our clients local loans. That way your money starts in the community and stays here in the community where it belongs. And we've been doing this since 1964. Well before that whole farm to fork thing was a thing. Fremont Bank. FremontBank.com. Equal housing lender.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult? And then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real life. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak Babbel. Language for life. Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com or download the Babbel app and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hi, I'm Vanessa with PG&E. A little preparation will make your family safer in an emergency. A week's worth of food and water, radio, flashlight, batteries, and a first aid kit is a good start. To be prepared and learn more, visit pge.com/safety.
When is it going to cool down? Patty's going to tell you that, but first, Kim is going to tell you why you might be stuck in some traffic out there right now.
Good. I was afraid you were asking me. I don't do weather.
We don't trust you with weather or business or sports. You're really good at traffic, though.
Oh, thanks so much. Traffic not too bad today. We do have a couple of trouble spots. We'll start with an update in Belmont. Chilton Auto Body Collision Cam has been watching this accident, southbound 101. It's just before Ralston Avenue. A couple of cars on the right-hand shoulder. And at the moment, traffic is still getting by just fine. We've had no major problems. No minor problems on 101 up and down the peninsula for the ride on 280. And we do have a mystery backup in the South Bay. Nothing official from Highway Patrol, but I see a very heavy stretch of traffic on northbound 880, right where Highway 17 changes to 880, north of the 280 interchange. So between 280 past Valley Fair there to the Alameda is really heavy, possibly some emergency road work. So if you know, the phone force number here, 415-391 KCBS 391-5227. Castro Valley, watch out, a car just ran out of gas traveling along eastbound there at Redwood Road and conked out in the left lane. So that's definitely a hazard, and traffic is stacking up behind it. And it's also stacking up in stretches on eastbound 580 between Livermore and 205. Brake lights start at South Vasco Road. Slow and go until you get to that 205 split. Next update at 3:58 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Mancini's Sleep World 6-day forecast. Yes, we are going to talk about the heat and how long it will last with KPIX5's Paul Hagan.
Today was one of those days around the Bay Area with temperatures only in the 60s, barely above 70 in the city, but pushing 100 degrees farther inland. And tomorrow's going to be another hot day. The heat advisory continues until 7 p.m. on Thursday for our options, but the heat isn't going to be quite as oppressive. Upper 80s and low 90s for high temperatures on Thursday, still with plenty of sunshine overhead. Around the Bay, high temperatures around 70 degrees will reach up only into the mid-60s near the water, and the cooling trend is going to continue as we head into Friday. Low to mid-80s inland, Mid to upper 60s to around 70 degrees near the bay and low 60s along the coast. Saturday brings a chance of actual rain showers, maybe even a couple rumbles of thunder. I'm meteorologist Paul Hagen with your KPIX5 KCBS forecast.
Traffic and weather on KCBS, sponsored by PG&E.
Sheltering in place helps keep you safe from COVID-19. But that doesn't mean you won't have a stomach ache, trip over the dog, or even need to go to the emergency department. Good thing you can count on safe, expert care at Marin Health. We've enhanced cleaning and disinfecting protocols, and we require masks and social distancing for staff and patients. Our patients are tested before admission. Those who might have COVID-19 are treated separately and safely in our emergency department and in the hospital. And visitors. Meanwhile, we're offering telehealth appointments in our Marin Health Medical Network clinics. And for patients who need to be seen in person, we're scheduling appointments and reducing wait times. With Marin Health, you can rest assured that your healing place is a safe place. Learn more at mymarinhealth.org/safety.
KCBS News Time, 3:53.
Tom Lippy and Kathy Whitman are editing this afternoon. Our News Watch continues, and as COVID-19 restrictions ease this summer, AAA is warning it is an especially dangerous time for teen drivers. KCBS's Margie Schaefer reports that parents are being urged to be good role models.
The last decade of crash data shows 16 and 17-year-olds are 3 times more likely to be involved in a deadly crash compared to adults.
We want to put the onus, let them know that, hey, this is the time to really talk to your teen and let them know how to drive safely.
That is Sergio Avila with AAA, who says the most deadly time of year for the 10-year period 2008 and 2018 is between Memorial Day and Labor Day.
The new study by the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety found that about 72% of drivers between the age of 16 and 18 had admitted to some risky behavior while driving in the past 30 days.
Those behaviors include speeding, texting, aggressive red light running. Parents may want to check out the online AAA Start Smart program for some tips to be an effective in-car coach.
Some of those involve, staying cool when your teen says, "Don't yell at me."
And not taking the same route twice while practice driving. Margie Schaefer, KCBS.
On we go to the Money Watch.
News to feel good about the economy reopening, with the Dow Jones posting back-to-back 500-point gains and closing above 25,000 for the first time since March. Dow rose 553 points to 25,548. The Nasdaq up 72 points to 9412, and the S&P gained 44 points to 3036. The Fed's Beige Book revealed what everyone already knew, that economic activity declined across all of the central bank's districts in May from the pandemic. The outlook also remains highly uncertain, with the Beige Book indicating pessimism about the potential pace of recovery. There are signals that the housing market is bouncing back from a big sales drop in April. The Mortgage Bankers Association reports that home purchase applications rose 8.5% from a week earlier, the 6th straight week of increasing purchase apps. On the Money Watch, Jason Brooks, KCBS.
Is your sex life less than satisfying? The doctors at Prime Male Medical have the solution, and over the last 5 years, they've helped thousands of clients with performance issues.
We have a 99% success rate in treating ED.
That's Dr. Robert Rowley from Prime Male Medical, exclusively dedicated to male impotence and performance issues. Even where Viagra and Cialis have failed, Prime Male Medical has a history of success.
Most impotence treated in just one visit.
Medication is FDA approved and guaranteed. KCBS listeners get your first visit, PSA test, testosterone sound, and a full year of free follow-up visits for just $99. That's a $695 value. For information, go to primemalemedical.com.
Male Medical, with clinics in the East Bay and San Francisco. Call now, 415-761-4037. That's 415-761-4037. Call 415-761-4037.
Semper Solaris, local and veteran-owned. Solar panels made in America. Roofing with Owens Corning Platinum Protection Warranty and battery storage with Tesla Powerwall. Heating and air conditioning with a lifetime warranty. All made in America. Main issues, Semper Strong. Keep America working. Call now, 888-684-1816 or visit sempersolaris.com. Some restrictions apply. Call or see website for details. CSLB number 978152.
In that tiny little corner of South America that reaches east toward Africa
is Paraíba, Brazil.
Ader Dimas Barbosa knew there was treasure hidden in Paraíba.
And he was determined to find it.
But not even Barbosa was prepared for the wonder he found in 1989.
A Paraíba tourmaline is 10,000 times more rare than a diamond.
And they are dazzling.
Neon turquoise.
Neon green.
And neon blue.
Most people will live their whole lives and never see one.
But those who have seen its neon glow will never forget it.
Everyone who sees it will ask,
what is
Streve & Company exists to bring you the rare,
the exotic,
and the beautiful.
And nothing is more rare.
Nothing is more exotic.
And nothing is more beautiful
than the dazzling neon glow of a Paraíba tourmaline.
From that tiny little corner of South America
that reaches east toward Africa.
In Brazil.
Shreve
& Company.
KCBS traffic and weather at 3:58. Traffic from Kim in your local Honda dealers traffic center. Off to Hayward, Kim.
We're taking a closer look at a new accident with the Chilton Auto Body collision cam backing up the ride on southbound 880 headed into Hayward. The crash is just before Winston Avenue and the left lane is blocked. So it's jamming up really fast. Already backed up 38, slightly backed up in the northbound direction. Also, your northbound ride on 880 is starting to crowd up too. No accident, just more and more days between Union City and Hayward. We still have this car out of gas, a minor backup behind it in Castro Valley, Eden Canyon Road, so watch out for the car in the left lane there. And if you see a problem, let us know about it via Twitter at KCBS AM FM Traffic. Next on the Traffic Leader, KCBS.
Yeah, approaching 100 degrees, if not reaching it in the inland valleys this afternoon. A little bit of